Hey, lovely viewers, welcome to our channel, The Simpsons 24 Hours. The Simpsons debate heats up. Matt Groening responds to Golden Age critics. For decades, The Simpsons has been one of the most influential shows in television history, but fans still can't agree on one big question. When was it at its best? Many viewers argue that the show's golden age lies between seasons 3 and 8, a period packed with iconic episodes and razor-sharp satire. However, creator Matt Groening has a simple response to those who say the show declined after the 90s. He believes they're just not watching it anymore. Despite fan nostalgia, The Simpsons continues to evolve after more than 800 episodes and nearly 4 decades on air. While early seasons are widely praised for timeless storytelling, later episodes have sparked debate, especially when tackling modern trends or celebrity culture. Some classic episodes still hold up brilliantly. Stories like Last Exit to Springfield are often considered masterpieces, blending humor, social commentary, and unforgettable gags into what many fans call the peak of the series. These episodes showcase the show's ability to mix satire with emotional depth, something that defined its early success. However, not every episode has aged gracefully. Over time, certain storylines have become controversial or outdated. Episodes referencing figures like Bill Cosby or Michael Jackson feel uncomfortable in hindsight due to real-world controversies. Others, like celebrity-driven plots featuring Mel Gibson or Elon Musk, now seem out of touch or overly flattering. There are also episodes criticized for relying on short-lived trends such as parodies of early tech fads or for pushing humor into darker, more awkward territory. For example, Homer vs. Dignity is often cited as a low point due to its uncomfortable storyline, while The Principal and the Pauper sparked backlash for rewriting a beloved character's identity. Even geography and real-world events have affected how episodes are viewed. The city of New York vs. Homer Simpson, once a fan favorite, took on a more uneasy tone after the events of September 11th attacks. Still, not all aging has been negative. Some episodes were ahead of their time, tackling topics like immigration and LGBTQ+ themes with surprising nuance for the 1990s. This balance of hits and misses is perhaps inevitable for a show with such a long lifespan. In the end, the debate over The Simpsons isn't going away anytime soon. While longtime fans may prefer the classic era, Groening's message is clear. The show is still alive, still evolving, and still worth watching. Whether you're a diehard fan of the early seasons or a supporter of its modern run, one thing is certain: The Simpsons remains a cultural phenomenon that continues to spark conversation across generations. Matt Groening's simple response to fans who say The Simpsons was better in the 90s. The golden age of The Simpsons is a hotly debated topic among fans. Some believe the show was only good between seasons 3 through 8, while others will extend that by a couple more seasons. I happen to think season 11 isn't without its charms, but generally, fans agree that the best seasons of The Simpsons are a distant memory at this point. According to creator Matt Groening, however, anybody who says this simply isn't watching the series. It's not exactly surprising that Simpsons fans feel the show's best years are behind it. This is a series that's been on the air for almost 4 decades, an incredible achievement, especially considering The Simpsons. 10 The Simpsons episodes that have aged like milk. The Simpsons has been around for nearly 4 decades and aired more than 800 episodes, so some of them are bound to have aged badly. The best episodes of The Simpsons are aging like a fine wine. The Golden Age years are jam-packed with timeless classics that still hold up today. Marge vs. the Monorail, Last Exit to Springfield, You Only Move Twice, etc. But not all Simpsons episodes have stood the test of time. Surprisingly, some of The Simpsons' very special episodes about taboo subjects have actually aged pretty well. Despite being from the unenlightened 90s, Much Ado About Nothing is a progressive, in-depth look at the issue of immigration, and Homer's phobia has aged a lot better than most 90s sitcom episodes about homosexuality. Like Seinfeld's The Outing and Frasier's The Matchmaker, it's more of a light-hearted satire of stereotypes than the outright gay panic of Joey and Chandler. But some Simpsons episodes don't hold up today. Whether they're pandering to a controversial public figure like Bill Cosby or Michael Jackson, cashing in on a flavor-of-the-month fad like Google Glass, or playing something horrific for laughs, like having Homer get molested by a panda, these Simpsons episodes have aged like milk. Homer versus Dignity was a dark day for The Simpsons. All good taste went out the window when the writers decided to turn Homer into Mr. Burns' prank monkey, enacting Burns' diabolical fantasies to his own physical and emotional detriment. There are some fun gags thrown in there, like Homer eating an ultra-rare, ultra-valuable Spider-Man comic in front of comic book guy, but the episode reaches the point of no return when Homer gets sexually assaulted by a panda. While impersonating a panda at the zoo, he gets dragged away to be mated with, and it's played for laughs. The Season 3 episode Saturdays of Thunder is a great story about Homer and Bart bonding. It's one of the lovely, grounded, relatable stories the show told in its early days, before it got all out there and cartoonish. But these days, that sweet, emotional story is marred by the episode's incessant reverence for Bill Cosby. All throughout the episode, Homer looks up to Cosby as the ideal role model for a father, which, at the time, was generally the consensus. He was America's dad. Of course, it doesn't hold up today now that we know what kind of person Cosby really is. Beyond Blunderdome. The Simpsons Season 11 premiere was one of the first episodes to build its entire premise around a celebrity guest star. Beyond Blunderdome begins with Homer and Marge attending a test screening for Mel Gibson's latest movie. The conflict of the episode is that Gibson is so beloved that no one will give it to him straight and tell him his new movie sucks after Gibson's many public controversies. It's weird to go back and watch a Simpsons episode where his only problem is that everyone loves him too much. That certainly wouldn't be an issue today. Specs and the City. The Simpsons satirized Google Glass when Homer got a pair of Ogle goggles from Mr. Burns for Christmas. But Google Glass ended up being a pretty short-lived fad, and the jokes aren't strong enough for the episode to hold up on its own. The Golden Age episodes are timeless, but this one was just chasing a flavor-of-the-month trend. There have been a few episodes that have jumped on a bandwagon, whether it's Furby or Pokemon Go or reality competition shows, but the satire is usually sharp enough that it still works today as a time capsule of a ridiculous bygone craze. The City of New York vs. Homer Simpson. This is one of The Simpsons' funniest episodes, but the geography of it is very unfortunate. The City of New York vs. Homer Simpson is almost entirely set in the courtyard of the World Trade Center, complete with plenty of insults hurled at the people in the towers. This was just 4 years before September 11th, and the episode was pulled from syndication in some areas following the attacks. It's mostly back in circulation now, but it still feels uneasy to see Homer yelling at the jerks in Tower 1. Was originally envisioned as the first Simpsons movie, but the plot ended up being retooled into the Season 4 premiere. The bulk of the storyline sees Bart and Lisa going through hell at a poorly run, Krusty-themed summer camp, and it's a delightful romp. But before the school year ends, there's a fantasy sequence where Bart dreams about pulling out an assault rifle on the last day of school. This sequence played very differently in a pre-Columbine world. Now, it brings to mind any number of devastating school shootings across the United States. After the harrowing documentary Leaving Neverland resurfaced some disturbing allegations against Michael Jackson, the Michael Jackson-centric Simpsons episode, Stark Raving Dad, was pulled from circulation. This episode is a double whammy of problematic. It depicts a close-knit friendship between 10-year-old Bart and the king of pop, retroactive bad optics, to say the least, and it stigmatizes mental illness with its story of Homer being mistakenly admitted to a psychiatric hospital. It's a pretty great episode, with a truly heartwarming ending, but the Michael Jackson factor is hard to ignore. A Star is Burns. A Star is Burns is the only episode where Matt Groening had his name removed from the credits because it shamelessly used The Simpsons to lend some secondhand street cred to the critic. Having Jay Sherman in the Simpson household allows for some yucks along the way, and the Springfield Film Festival paves the way for some of the show's sharpest showbiz satire. But looking back on it today, it's strange to see such a cultural landmark bending the knee to a forgotten cult classic. It's a crossover pandering to another show that no one remembers. The Principal and the Pauper. Season 9's The Principal and the Pauper is often cited as the episode where The Simpsons jumped the shark. It's sometimes even cited as the episode that ended The Simpsons' golden era and began the downslope that it's been on for the past 2.5 decades. This is the episode where Principal Skinner, a character that audiences had a decade's worth of emotional investment in, is revealed to be an imposter living under a stolen identity. It was a betrayal to longtime fans, and when you rewatch it today, you still wonder why anyone ever thought it was a good idea. The Musk who fell to earth. In the early days, what made The Simpsons' celebrity guest stars so iconic was that they were willing to make fun of themselves. Legends like Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, and Leonard Nimoy all played self-effacing, Simpsified versions of themselves. But in recent years, The Simpsons has stopped poking fun at its celebrity guest stars and started worshipping them. Lady Gaga showed up to magically cure Lisa's depression with the power of her music. The absolute low point of this celebrity worship is the Musk who fell to earth, an entire episode dedicated to praising and uplifting the guy who would later give a certain kind of salute at a presidential inauguration. 33 years later, the greatest Simpsons episode is still a masterpiece from start to finish. You could get into a long, if not never-ending, discussion about what is objectively the best episode of The Simpsons. Across its 37 seasons, many superfans agree that the finest and most hilarious episode ranges within its loose golden age, but even that is up for debate. Picking any episode from this run could make a viable case as not just the best in the series, but perhaps the finest half-hour of animated comedy in the history of television. The Simpsons episode Last Exit to Springfield has a big range of cultural references. Like every Golden Age Simpsons season, the legendary animated show's 4th season is stuffed with iconic episodes and character moments. Between Camp Krusty, Lisa the Beauty Queen, and Homer the Heretic, you'll find something delightful and inventive if you scroll through the catalog and randomly select an episode. The season is essentially when the show fully pivoted to Homer as the overarching series protagonist, taking the reins from his son, the icon of juvenile rebellion and irreverence, Bart. In Last Exit to Springfield, Homer's heroic arc was complete. The episode follows Mr. Burns revoking his employees' dental plans in their contracts, an untimely break for Homer, as Lisa just learned that she requires braces. At the union meeting for the employees of Springfield's power plant, Homer speaks up about the importance of being provided dental care. After a rousing speech, he is elected the union president. The standoff between the persistent employees and Burns leads to attempted bribery, failed negotiations, and an eventual strike. Throughout this dense and rich episode, Burns is fooled into thinking Homer is some cutthroat, union tactician, and not just some doofus who merely didn't want to pay for his daughter's braces. From the perspective of the litany of pop culture references and textual allusions, where do you even begin with Last Exit to Springfield? For one, the title is an homage to the novel, Last Exit to Brooklyn, Hubert Selby Jr.'s harsh examination of the underbelly of society and union corruption in New York in the 1950s. Two of the most imaginative sequences in the episode parody two titans of modern American culture in The Godfather and The Beatles, with Homer fancying himself as a powerful neighborhood crime boss akin to Don Fanucci in The Godfather, Part 2, and Lisa's nitrous oxide hallucination putting her through a trip evocative of Yellow Submarine. No show or institution pays more homage to Citizen Kane than The Simpsons, and this episode features a bird with a striking resemblance to Burns in the foreground, a nod to the startling, screeching bird that flew on the screen in Kane. With everything from Tim Burton's Batman to How the Grinch Stole Christmas to The Three Stooges, nearly every major facet of American pop culture is referenced in this groundbreaking episode. The Simpsons, Last Exit to Springfield, is filled with pressing and urgent commentary. However, the episode's historical allusions and urgent social commentary pack a greater punch than any winking nod to a cinematic classic of yesteryear. Having Homer rise to the head of a union gave the writers ample opportunity to slide in a joke about Jimmy Hoffa, the charismatic and mob-tied Teamsters president whose disappearance remains ambiguous. In an episode brimming with extraordinary lines and sight gags, one of the most clever moments comes when we see a chalk outline of a body on a football field, a reference to the theory that Hoffa was killed and buried in the now-demolished Giants Stadium in New Jersey. The theme of unionization and workers' rights is played for big laughs in Last Exit to Springfield, but its commentary still holds weight today. With corporate consolidation and predatory business practices around us and dominating the news cycle, the marginalization of laborers feels more prevalent than ever. For all its farce, The Simpsons' best and funniest episodes contain a discernible dramatic crux and emotional undercurrent that complement the jokes. Last Exit to Springfield finds genuine solace and beauty in the factory workers uniting for their rights, capped off by a protest song performed by Lisa, which channels the pathos of the class struggles in Bob Dylan's music. The Simpsons taught us that we can learn and understand contemporary life and history through broad humor and satire, and laughing at the poignant realities of life is both therapeutic and an insight as to how the ridiculousness of life is reflected in a cartoon. The only reason The Simpsons feels more politically charged in recent years is that our most powerful business and political leaders have begun unironically resembling Mr. Burns, who was once a cartoonishly over-the-top depiction of a greedy tycoon, through their behavior and shady practices. Some of Homer's best gags are in Last Exit to Springfield. Stepping away from all the social and political baggage that the episode shrewdly taps into, Last Exit to Springfield is a masterclass in committing to a bit, a comedic device The Simpsons excelled at for years, best exemplified by when Sideshow Bob continuously steps onto rakes in the classic episode Cape Fear. During the union meeting where Homer first raises the importance of a dental plan, Homer zones out while the speaker calls for anyone to speak on an issue, with his internal monologue bouncing back and forth between him saying, "dental plan," and Marge yelling, "Lisa needs braces." As soon as you think the bit will end, the show keeps repeating these two lines, with the absurdity of Homer's thought process increasing in hilarity. When Burns tries to break up the picket line, he brings in the folks at the elderly home into his office, including Abe Grandpa Simpson, to silence the strike. Abe's strategy is to tell them stories that don't go anywhere, and he proceeds to share a long-winded anecdote about a time he rode a ferry and tied an onion to his belt. Per usual for Grandpa Simpson, the story has no purpose or conclusion. Where most shows would have cut off Abe's rambling after 2 lines, The Simpsons brilliantly commits to the bit, and we hear nearly the entire story. Making something perfect is an unfeasible task, but perfect is the only proper way to describe Last Exit to Springfield, the absolute peak of The Simpsons' powers as an animated comedy, satire, reflection of American life, and collection of gags and references. Thanks for watching this video. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.